I'm Ashley. Sitting in a cozy cafe in West Asheville, sipping my coffee, I'm reminded of the storm that was my family. It all came to a head during a Sunday dinner at my parents' place. The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. My dad stood stiffly near the end of the table, his hands clasped tightly. My mom sat at the head, arms crossed, eyes sharp, like a judge waiting for a verdict. My mom exhaled sharply and demanded, "Do you have any idea what you've done?" I tilted my head and calmly asked, "Which part are you mad about? Canceling the food, bringing grandma to Christmas, or people not believing your lies?" She spat. "You're so dramatic." Dad stepped in, his voice low and tense. "Your mother's hurt, and you've only made her look bad." I replied coolly, "She made herself look bad. I just stopped covering for her." My mom's face flushed with anger. "The truth? You mean your version of events?" "In my version, you abandoned the family and took revenge over a misunderstanding." I shot back. "You didn't invite me. You let me pay for everything, and then acted like I didn't exist." She snapped. "We just thought it would be easier, less tension." Just then my brother, Jake, spoke up. "Mom, you did exclude her. You told everyone she wasn't coming and let her pay for the meal. That was wrong." Mom turned to him, her eyes blazing. "Oh, don't you start too." But Jake didn't back down. "No, you crossed the line. You always do when you're cornered." Dad shifted uncomfortably and said, "We should have handled it differently." Mom narrowed her eyes. "What does that mean?" Dad hesitated. "Maybe she has a point. I wasn't done. You not only left me out but also tried to paint me as unstable. You told relatives I was having a breakdown." "Why, Mom?" And then she blurted out, "Because I was embarrassed." I didn't know what to say when people asked. It snowballed. I didn't want to be the villain. I said quietly, "So, you made me the villain." For the first time, I saw my dad look at my mom as if he didn't recognize her. Jake sat still, jaw clenched. My sister, Lily, who had been quiet, muttered, "Wow." The truth finally settled over the room. It all started long before that dinner. I grew up in a well-to-do family in Charleston. My parents, Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, were all about appearances. My mom was controlling and manipulative, always concerned with how the family looked to others. My dad was more passive, going along with my mom's decisions. I was the eldest of 3 siblings. Jake and Lily were the favorites. I was the one who took care of everything, like organizing family events, helping with schoolwork, and even paying for things when needed. I thought going to college would change things, that I'd finally be treated as an equal. But it didn't. A week before Thanksgiving 2025, my aunt, Sarah, posted in the family group chat that she couldn't wait to see everyone. I replied excitedly. But later, my cousin, Mark, texted me privately, "Are you really coming? Your parents said you weren't invited." My heart sank. When I called my mom, she said they were keeping it small, just immediate family. I was shocked. I was immediate family. I realized they'd excluded me because I'd refused to pay for Jake's new motorcycle and Lily's credit card debt. And yet, my dad had asked me to contribute to the Thanksgiving meal. I didn't just contribute. I paid for everything. I ordered the turkey from the butcher's block, a place my mom loved, and the desserts from Sweet Delights Bakery. It was all in my name. They'd used me. So, I made 2 phone calls. One to the butcher, who quickly processed a refund. The other to the bakery, which was hesitant but gave in when I sent the receipt. On Thanksgiving Day, at 12:17 p.m. My phone rang. It was my dad. I let it ring 4 times before answering. "The food never came," he said, his voice full of panic and confusion. I feigned concern and said, "Maybe check with whoever placed the order." He snapped, "You placed the order." I paused and said, "Did I? I thought you didn't need anything from me." An hour later, Mark texted me. There was no turkey, no desserts. All the stores were closed or out of stock. Lily had brought a new boyfriend, and she ended up crying. My mom locked herself in the bathroom, and my dad sat in silence. 3 days later, my mom sent a group text saying they missed me and hoped we could move on. It wasn't an apology. Aunt Sarah called and said many of them had confronted my parents. But by the end of the week, a new story was going around. I was unstable and had deliberately ruined Thanksgiving. Dad called me angry. He said I'd embarrassed my mom. I laughed and told him she didn't want me there in the first place. He said they'd made a mistake, but what I did was low. I was furious. It was a big deal to me. If it wasn't, why are you calling? I hung up, trembling with rage and grief. My cousin, Mark, texted that I'd started a war. My mom was telling everyone I was too fragile for family and that I was skipping Christmas because I couldn't handle conflict. I wasn't going to let her rewrite my story. On Christmas Eve 2025, I arrived at my parents' house, fashionably late. As soon as I stepped in, the conversation stopped. My mom's face froze, my dad stopped sipping his wine, and Lily looked like she'd seen a ghost. I greeted them cheerfully. Merry Christmas. Then I stepped aside to reveal my surprise guest, my grandma, my mom's mother. Years ago, they had a huge fight, and my mom had tried to cut her out of our lives. But I'd kept in touch. Grandma was appalled by what had happened at Thanksgiving. When I invited her to Christmas, she agreed right away. Grandma walked in and said, "Oh my, it's been ages. What lovely decorations." My mom looked like she was about to faint. During dinner, Grandma picked up her fork, examined the mashed potatoes, and said, "Is this instant? Tastes so consistent." I had to bite my cheek to keep from laughing. A week later, I started getting strange messages from relatives. Some asked if I was okay, while others accused me of being cruel. Aunt Sarah told me my mom was saying I'd had a breakdown and was unstable. I just laughed bitterly. I called Grandma, and she said my mom had been calling around, saying she was worried about me. I knew it was a lie. That night, I sent a message to the family group chat. "Hey everyone, I'm doing great. No drama. It's been an interesting holiday season, and I'm in a good place. Happy New Year." Then, unexpectedly, Jake texted me. "Can we talk?" We met at this cafe. He said he didn't agree with what Mom had done. He'd realized how much damage she'd been causing. I was so relieved to hear that. In the weeks that followed, I kept my distance. My mom sent shallow texts, but I ignored them. Aunt Sarah checked in regularly, and Grandma sent a warm letter. Jake and I started to rebuild our relationship. I've learned that standing up for myself isn't easy, but it's necessary. I won't let anyone make me the scapegoat anymore. The empty chair at their next Thanksgiving table won't be a source of shame for me. It'll be a symbol of my peace.